And good evening, everybody out in quarantine world. This is 31 More Days with Brian and Ed. Good evening. Live from Pittsburgh, the quarantine capital of the world. Um, on to my left or to your right or whatever side it's on, we're going to bring in a new artist here in town. He is a tremendous talent. He is not just bald and beautiful, but also a very talented artist. Let's bring him in, the co-host of 31 More Days, Ed Troop.
Hey, how about that drawing over there? That's Agent Peely from Fortnite.
Well, my son loves Fortnite, and when you sent me that, he kind of walked past the computer and goes, "Oh my God, who drew Agent Peely? That's awesome!"
Yeah, and of course I don't play Fortnite, but both of my sons now play, and as does yours. And
Yeah.
the other day, my littlest one, my 6-year-old Brendan, we like to draw and color a lot. So I've done a whole bunch of things, which I think you have a bunch to show everybody. And there's Brendan right now. Go ahead, Brendan. Say hello to the
Hey, what's
Facebook.
up, Brendan?
Hi.
So that's Agent
Hi, buddy.
Peely,
How are
right?
you?
Yeah.
So we did.
Dad,
Yes.
you did the wrong color suit. It was supposed to be white or black.
Oh, it's supposed to be white or black.
Wow.
The suit. I did blue.
Oh, did we lose
Am I
him?
fired?
Yes, you're fired.
I think I'm fired.
Sorry, Brendan.
He wants me to make a new one now. So if you go on YouTube, you can do a search on how to draw like anybody, really. So we just typed in Agent Peely. Some 10-minute video from some loser popped up, and I drew away, man. I drew it from scratch.
Dude, your Agent Peely was great. It was a big hit amongst the Carruthers household. We love Fortnite, so we were excited to see it. And keep up the good work, Ed. You're a wonderful talent, and maybe art is in your future when all of this ends.
Hey, we're all finding hidden talents along the way. So,
hey, hi, Jen. Hi, Ed. Oh, Ed, that's you watching. Hi, Marcy. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Mike. Hi, Mom. Marcy said, "Come on, Ed." I thought that was pretty good as far as the artwork goes. I don't know. I'm not one to judge. I can't. I like to doodle, but I don't have the talent that you do, man. Like the Agent Peely. It's
well, that was drawn from scratch, but it took about 20 minutes. So but it was a lot of fun, man.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. Wow. Hey, we didn't get a chance to talk during the show last night because we had technical difficulties. But how was your Easter? Did you have a nice day with the family? Did you eat ham?
Yes, we did. We grilled some ham yesterday. So I know we were talking on the show when you were having your technical difficulties about what did everybody have for Easter. And I know a bunch of people commented. I don't know if it was your buddy TJ or our buddy TJ. I guess I can call my friend too now, right?
Sure.
I think he said meatloaf or something. He made like an Easter meatloaf, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's good. I hate ham. So any way you tell me you made ham, if you said you dipped it in holy water and it was personally blessed by Jesus himself, I'd still go, ugh.
The holy ham.
Yeah, if you had holy ham yesterday, like I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it.
I'm not a big ham guy either, but I grilling it. I only eat it twice a year. Once on Christmas, and that's usually the spiral honey baked ham, which is good. It's fine for a day. And then Easter, we the last couple of years we've been grilling these ham steaks, and they're pretty good, man. They're not bad.
Hey, hi guys. Hi Terry. Hi Matt. Hey, now here's two things that turn out great for Easter. I don't know how my mother-in-law did this, but you recognize these bad boys, right? Paris candy. Chocolate-covered pretzels. Are you kidding me? So,
Cannonsburg.
So delicious. And it's something that always finds its way into the old Easter basket, the peanut butter melt-away egg. We get a little closer at that. So that is like 3 pounds.
Peanut butter
melt-away egg. So that is 3 beautiful pounds of chocolate peanut butter goodness right there.
Ryan, you keep freezing up on us, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Could you not hear me on it?
No, you're good now. You're back.
The peanut butter melt-away egg, 3 beautiful pounds.
3 pounds of.
I mean, it's like you never seen one of these? Our guest tonight, Bill Powerhouse Hughes, probably eats about 100 of these for Easter. Here we go. Look at this. Is this great? Oh my God! Fantastic! I can't wait to break into that. After the show tonight. We have a nice show. Bill Powerhouse Hughes, local, the pride of Monessen. The wrestler will be here. And you know what, Ed? I want to ask him when he comes on. I think that Powerhouse, or as my mom probably would say, Powerhouse, um, would be surprised to know that him and I are the same size. Now, I think he carries it a little bit better than I do, but we're going to find out right when he comes in because I heard he's 6'6" and he weighs in at 275 pounds. He may have me by 5 pounds, so we're not gonna do a weigh-in or anything because I'm worried that he'll break quarantine and come over
Well,
here.
what's funny is I've lost, as you know, during this whole shutdown. I've actually tried to do the opposite. I've been trying to eat better, work out every day. I've lost like 15 pounds now. So I'm actually down to about 270. But the problem is I'm not 6'6". I'm 5'11". So that's a big difference.
Yeah, boy, if you got into the ring with Powerhouse, or as my cousins calls him, Powerhouse, she lives in Monessen too. If you got in, the crowd would go crazy waiting to see Powerhouse put the power bomb on you or something, just pick you up and throw you out of the ring. I mean, that'd be a big, exciting moment to see you get whooped by Powerhouse.
I'm not messing with my man. That's why he's my buddy. That's why we're friends. I'm keeping him on my side. But
yeah. Hi Jess. Hi Joe. Hi Dave. Hi Roger. Hi John. Hi Matt. Hi. Thanks for joining us. Jessica says hi Eddie and hi Bill. So we'll pass that on to Bill when he comes on.
Jesse, that's Bill's sister, Jessie, who was one of the best basketball players, girls basketball players at Bell Vernon when we were in high school. Man, she was tremendous. One of the best players to come through there. Could hit the three ball like nobody's business.
Really?
Big 3-point shooter. So,
wow.
What's up, Jesse? Good to see you.
Hey, we have some exciting news. Before we break, I know we want to kind of get to some news of the day, but Ed, we have an exciting announcement that you don't even know about. But tomorrow night on the show, we have Clyde Calicott. He has put together the Pittsburgh Living Room Concert on Saturday, starting at noon all the way till it's a 12-hour virtual concert from, I believe it's 12 to 12. Joe and all your favorite Pittsburghers are in there. Joe Grishecki, Donnie Iris, Freezy, Norman Nardini. Going to have everybody there, and it's going to be a great live event, and it's organized. It is called the Pittsburgh Service Staff Aid, which all the proceeds are going to go to hospitality workers affected by the coronavirus shutdown, which is pretty awesome. So that's going to be a cool thing to check in. It'll be on Facebook Live. They're asking everybody to share it. It's a great cause. And Ed, I have breaking news for you. We've been asked to MC the last hour of the concert to introduce several of the rockers between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. Will you be there?
Oh, absolutely, man. For sure. That's past my quarantine bedtime, but I'll make it work.
What time do you go to bed nowadays?
I'm actually making a joke. Before the quarantine, I'd be in bed at 10 or 10:30. Now I'm up to like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's hit and miss these days.
So also Lindsey Smith, John Vento, Gallo, Loughnez, Freezy, as we said, Vanessa Campagna, Chris Jameson, who won America's Got Talent or The Voice or one of those, David Granati, Borstal Boys, Jimbo Jackson. It's they're hoping to raise $20,000. And one thing I wanted to mention, Ed, if you don't mind, is they're breaking them down. They're going to have individual living room concerts, and I guess 4 or 5 performers are going to perform each hour. One of them, between 2 and 3, is going to be a local reggae band called the Flow Band. I know you love reggae.
That's awesome.
It holds a special spot, at least in my family's heart, because the lead singer of the Flow Band died earlier this year, Uzell Finney Jr. Here's a picture of him. Looks like Bob Marley, right? Looks the part. Died after a long battle with cancer. And I think this is going to be the Flow Band's first return, which probably will be emotional to raise money for Pittsburgh because one, Uzell has passed, and the other, they're going, to try to raise money for a town that they've made their whole career in. So that'll be exciting to see them perform.
What an awesome cause and what an awesome event on Saturday. So we'll definitely be looking forward to that. And what better way to bring people together but music, right?
Yeah, of course. Let's say hi to Tim. Hi, Jess. Hi, John. Hi, Tara. Hi, Mike. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Mike. The other Mike. And so, yeah, Ed, you and I will be the MCs between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So get ready. I don't know if we're supposed to wear suit and ties or what we're going to do, but I guess we'll figure it out.
We both, we've gotten dressed up for the show, each and every week. So, it's like business as usual.
Yeah, I thought we looked pretty good.
When was the last time you wore jeans?
Okay, that's a great question. Um, I wore jeans on Easter. We went over to my parents' house and we went over to my wife's parents' house. Now, my parents are not leaving their home. They come out on the balcony like the Pope and just wave to their grandkids, and we're 25 feet
Smoke
away.
comes out.
Yeah, and I wave the pom poms, and they wave back, and it's crazy. And then we went to my wife's family's house. Now they're a little different. We all sat in the driveway like 10 or 15 feet apart, and we had like a remote control car, so they put beers on them, and the kids were playing with the cars to get them back and forth, taking the beers, and so it was fun. I'm sure the police would have shut us down. There was more than 10 people, but we did try to keep our distance.
Right.
I tried.
Right.
Hey, Debbie said, "Congrats, Ed, for the 15-pound weight loss. You look fantastic." I agree with her.
Thanks, Debbie. I got a lot more to go, but it's been a good start. It's been slow this time around. It's been a very slow loss,
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, I think I'm like let's see, about 2 months into it now.
What are you down? 15? You're looking good. Hi, Marty.
Like 2.5.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Debbie. Good evening. Welcome to Quarantine. Those of you who are keeping track, we now have a new graphic on the show that we're really proud of. We invested a lot of money into it. The quarantine is now in day 30. If you look at the top of your screen, we spent I think like $9 to have that inserted in.
That's a $9 well spent. Now, where are you starting? Where's your kickoff date? Because 30 days ago, let me see if I can do this math.
All right, so
14,
30 days ago
16.
was March 14th, and that was when my kids were told by Moon that they no longer can come back. So that was their last day of school. Well, for this year, which is really hard to believe.
Yeah. So you started on the 15th, then March 15th, which was about the same time that we got shut down on a real estate end later that week. So, man, hard to believe 30 days already, right? I mean, that's.
Hey, and this week's going to be a good week for the average Joe. The stimulus checks apparently will be coming out or going into your bank account. So there's no liquor stores open, and Ohio and West Virginia said they want no Pennsylvania residents coming in and looting their liquor stores. So I don't know. What are you going to do with that money, Ed?
Give it right back. Some of us owed that in taxes for 2019. So it's like, that's your reward for having a good year, right? You're like, hey, here you go. Yeah. Slide it right back over.
Right. So. Jen said she's on day 36 with the cry emoji. And I don't blame her. I don't know how she's calculating. Everyone's there. We wanted to call this 31 more days. We named this show and started it when we were told by Wolf that we couldn't leave until the end of April. So we're on day 15 of our show and now day 30 of our quarantine.
Well, what's funny is about that too is I just realized today it's been about 3 weeks since I actually went into a store.
Really? What store was it?
Physically, it was the Giant Eagle in Bridgeville. I had to go get propane, and it was 3 weeks ago this past Sunday.
Wow.
Because since then we've just done the pickups where Giant Eagle, Walmart, Sam's Club, GFS, where they bring it out to you. So I haven't actually physically been in a store.
I wonder what's going to happen. Giant Eagle had some sort of press release on a couple things. One, they just announced that their lanes they're going to do one-way lanes. So when you get down the bread aisle, you only can go up. You can't go down it. So I think they're trying to keep people from running into each other. We'll see how that goes. I never really follow the rules at a grocery store. The last time I was yelled at a grocery store, I had my son underneath the cart and I was pushing him like he was flying through the store. And someone said,
right.
And like a 17-year-old kid came over and said, "Your kid can't be on the cart like that." And I was like, "Oh, can't he? Okay, I'll look into it." And he was like, "Forget it." Amy said she's on day 29. Hi, Amy. Enjoy your 29th day of the quarantine.
What's up, Amy? We used to put Brendan when he was like 3 years old on the actual. Imagine doing this now, right? People lose their mind. Put him actually where you put your groceries, and he would stand on there and hand me the groceries and put them down, to give them to the clerk or the self checkout.
Oh yeah, sure.
But
yeah,
I used to get yelled at on that too, and I'm like,
dude, of course, people are going to yell at you, and I don't know. I hate to say I just missed it, but I'd have a hard time. I probably. And it's good that I'm not the go-to grocery person in my house. My wife is. She feels like she's been exposed the most. So I sent her out into the jungle to go get food and stuff. So she'll follow the rules. I'd be going every which direction. I'd blame I couldn't see through the mask. So I'm glad that I'm
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting, man. I was talking to my wife, Katie, about this today. You know, when things go back to normal, will they really go back to normal? I mean, have we figured out certain things in society because of the shutdown that actually work better? And I'm going to give you an example. We went to Chick-fil-A last week, pulled into the Chick-fil-A in Robinson parking lot, and pulled into one of the mobile parking spaces, and there's like 30 of them. And you just order on your phone. Meanwhile, there's a line wrapped around the building in the drive-thru. It barely moves, and within 10 minutes, they brought our food out to our car. We paid for it on our phone, put it in the car, and went home.
My dad from the balcony on Easter read some press release from Giant Eagle that they want to hire like something crazy, thousands of people now just to do the out-of-store delivery that people don't have to go back in. So I think people are going to see new models. I think we'll see more efficiency come out of it. I think we'll see people have less and less interaction on the day-to-day. I don't know how commercial real estate stays in business. I'm scared about that. But yeah, for those grocery stores, man, I don't know if your dream might come true. You never see the inside of a Walmart again. Hey, my uncle Bob Sendall says hello. Hey, guys, sounding good. We want to have Bob on at some point. Celebrity
that'd be great.
Chef, has cooked for the Obamas, was chef for the Hillmans, the Heinz family. He's done it all. We want to have
Uncle Bobby. What's up, man?
Maybe he could even cook something for us.
That would be great. I don't know. Can he drop it off at the doorstep?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, Nick.
Ring the doorbell. And
hi,
run.
Alan. Hi, Matt. Thanks for watching tonight, everybody, and welcome to Quarantine. What do you say? Let's get to our guest. I've been excited to talk to him all week since you told me that. Are you guys both Bell Vernon graduates? That's how you know Powerhouse?
Of course, yeah. Bill's a Mon Valley guy and born and raised in Monessen, but I've known Bill for a long, long time. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that throughout this broadcast. Probably since I was like in middle school.
Wow. Well,
we used to actually wrestle in the backyard.
He wrestled you in the backyard?
Yeah, I don't know if he remembers, but we did.
Hold up.
Yeah, there was like a group of 5 or 6 of us.
I want to hear about that immediately. So let's not hold back. He's an independent wrestler from Monessen. Everyone knows the name when it comes to local wrestling. Let's welcome to the show, Bill Powerhouse Hughes. Hey, Powerhouse.
Hey, guys. How's this going tonight?
Good. You look massive. Did you just do a bunch of push-ups?
I may have. I'm not going to confirm or deny that, though. Thanks for having me.
I was saying to Ed before you came on that you and I are the same size, but I think that most people fear you, and most people would say to me, are you Powerhouse's dad?
It's all good. I'll take that as a compliment. So, but giant teddy bear, nothing to fear here. It's all good.
You remember wrestling Ed in your backyard or his backyard?
Yeah, and you know what? If I could share that story real quick. This is gospel truth. Ed technically should own the copyright to the name Powerhouse Hughes.
Whoa, wait a second. Tell us why.
Yeah, he's the one that gave me the name. I don't know if he remembers that or not, but
I don't.
Back in the day, one of our buddies, Eric Lancey, was we were in his backyard, and this was before everybody can get their hands on a wrestling ring, and we were having fun, and I called myself Big Bill Hughes, and Ed, as a middle schooler, had the knowledge and the common sense to say, all anybody has to do is look at you, and we know you're big. Like, legit, I'm about 6'3.5". I'm about 260. So he goes, we know you're big. We don't have to call you big. He goes, my goodness. He goes, you're a powerhouse. Boom, there you go.
Whoa, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember giving you the nickname, Bill, but I'll take it, man. Maybe that's where like the broadcasting smartness maybe started back in middle school there. But man, we used to have a lot of fun, and we used to come out to music and gimmicks and everything else, and that's where it all started. We were pretty young when we were doing that. Of course, guys like Bill went on to do it professionally. Guys like me decided just to watch.
Hey, Bill, Amber Regal said, hey, Powerhouse, and it seems like you got a big following, man. Where did it all start for you? Was it Monessen?
I grew up growing up in Monessen. As far as getting into wrestling, I remember we had a family gathering at the house. I don't know what it was, a Saturday, because I want to say it was a Saturday night's main event, and my uncles were over. My Uncle Bear and Uncle Chicky, and I'm not sure which. That's legitimately what we call them, Uncle Bear and Uncle Chicky.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one it was, or if it was somebody else that was there, but I remember one of them being there, and we turned wrestling on. I was like, "What is this?" And there you go. And it started there. Yeah, it started there. And then 96, and now Amber, we went to college together, Riggs, incredible softball player for the Vulcans up at Cal U. was it my second year of college. There was a local promotion starting up, and somebody told me about it. Went to the show, and next thing you know, they had a training school. I talked to them. We went to dinner that night. They had a show Saturday. It was their first ever show. We went to dinner that Tuesday night. On the spot, I knew I was going to do it. Talked to my parents about it. They made me promise I'd get my college degree. And 3 degrees later, I'm using the degrees and not the wrestling knowledge I learned. So
yeah, there you go. Very cool. And what was your first match, and who did you take on, and did you win?
Let's see. That would have been December of '96. I want to say it was December 14th. It was a tag match. Myself and the guy I was training with, we took on our trainers. And it was Sean Shocker Evans and the Beast. They've unfortunately both passed away, and since. And
what was the angle, Powerhouse, that you had to fight your own trainers? Do you remember what the angle was?
No, they just we started. I mean, I started training in October of '96, and they literally wanted me doing a show like a week and a half, 2 weeks later.
Okay, but there wasn't an angle in the ring that you had turned on your trainers or they turned on you. This was just a regular tag match.
Well, how we did it was when I told them I didn't feel comfortable doing a match that quick, they had the guy that I started training with do a singles match at their next show. I worked security.
Okay.
And towards the end of the match, I interfered. I came in and we laid out the guy, the one, Sean Evans, Shocker. And then the Beast came in, made the save on Sean. And then it just turned into where – then it turned into the next match. Beast turned on Sean, and then him, myself, and the third guy. We started a group with the promotion, and our group was called The Factory, and away we went.
Hey, hi, Uncle Billy from Jimmy Hackett. And Abby says hi. Hi, Uncle Billy. You got a lot of young fans out there.
Yeah, Jimmy, that's my nephew. He loves wrestling. Hope you're doing your schoolwork, buddy. And Abby's my niece. I love you this much, kiddo. You know how much. And I hope you're doing your schoolwork too. And we'll call you both tomorrow so we can check and make sure the schoolwork's going all right. Love you both.
And Bill, I was talking to Brian before we came on. I don't know if you heard, but of course, Abby, your niece, is your sister Jesse's daughter. And Jesse, as of course I was telling Brian, was one of the best basketball players to come out of Bell Vernon girls basketball. Man, she could shoot the 3-ball like nobody's business, and really enjoyed watching her play for all 4 years at Bell Vernon. And really had already knew you, but then got to know you and your family and your dad and everybody a lot more. And Brian, just a tremendous family, the Hughes family, good people, and just been a privilege to know over the years and be around everybody, Bill, associated with you.
Chris says Powerhouse rules. We got a lot of fans here, Powerhouse. Hey, what are you doing? I don't want to put you on the spot on your workout routine right now. So if you gain 20 pounds in quarantine, just lie. But I saw The Rock on Instagram, and he's now not posting any workout videos or photos because he says it sucks for everyone out there who relies on neighborhood gyms that they can't get in there and pound the way that he can. What are you doing to stay in shape during quarantine?
I actually, when this all first started happening, because I don't have any weights in my house. I didn't have any weights.
Me either, right?
There's no gyms to. The gyms are all closed. So I went to Walmart 4 times in probably a week, trying to get dumbbells of any size to do anything. And finally, it was the 4th time they had dumbbells. I was so happy. I was like a kid in the Christmas store. I grabbed them, ran up to the register, and I ran right. All 4 times I was probably in Walmart a total of 10 minutes, just because you got to get in and out. But so I do have some dumbbells. Doing a lot of push-ups, and having been in physical therapy a couple of times for injuries, or I ruptured my bicep tendon, had to have surgery, and did therapy for that. I do have a routine that I know what I can do, what I can't do, and so I'm trying to follow that. So I'm getting a good workout in 5 days a week. Doing a lot of steps in my house too. So. Good.
Bill, one thing that Brian and I have talked a lot about is how, watching the WWE now is very different. They're at the training facility in Orlando. There's no crowd. And wrestling is such a huge sport that feeds off the crowd, right? Whether you're, face or heel, the reaction of the crowd is what you feed off of. And it's so weird watching that right now. So I guess 2 questions for you. One is, what do you think about that, watching the, professionals? And then from a second standpoint, being a local wrestler, how would you deal with that right now if you had to go into an empty seat arena?
Those are great questions. First and foremost, I did get out. I did my last match March of 2016. It was time. I'd gone through grad school after I ruptured my bicep tendon, and I went back for my school counseling degree. I'm a school guidance counselor at the Trinity Area School District out here in Washington, Pennsylvania. Went back and got my principal papers on top of that. When the time is right, I'll make that move, but enjoy what I'm doing right now. Let me say that the smallest crowd I ever wrestled in front of was 36 people. Okay. So obviously WWE wrestlers doing it is different for them now, but a lot of them did start out on an independent level where they might have wrestled in front of 50 people, 100 people, and whatnot. So even watching WrestleMania last weekend, it was odd. It was different because you weren't. They tell you when you're trained, they tell you that you're supposed to go out there and wrestle as if you're in front of 20,000 people, whether there's 20 people there or if there is indeed 20,000 people. But I mean, there is a difference. There's absolutely a difference. And doing it in an empty arena, the best feeling ever in the ring was when you would have the fans in the palm of your hand. Whether they were cheering for you, they were booing for you. But if you're telling a story in the ring and you're in there with your opponent, your partner, if you will, and they're cheering you or they're booing you and vice versa for your opponent, whether it was 10 people or if it was several thousand, that's what you want. So, you're trained to give it your all regardless, but doing it in front of with nobody there, I mean, that had to be hard. Had to be hard.
Mike wants to know, Powerhouse, what was it like working with the APA? Are they talking about the Accolade Protection Agency?
Yeah, Farouk and Bradshaw, JBL, he would later become known as. Back in November of '99, some of us did a spot on Monday Night Raw. There was Eric was on that show. He was an officer.
Yeah.
As was Sniper was there. Del Price was there. A couple others. What Mike's talking about is we were in 2 backstage skits. The night before was Survivor Series. It was the night when Austin was wink hit by the car when he was getting ready to take the time. Okay, so that's where we are time frame wise. Well, that night, this was when the APA, they were doing their bar vignettes, their promos, where they were getting into fights with local people at a bar and leave everybody laying. Well, the night before, they had pre-taped something for Survivor Series. They were, I can't remember if I know the Dudleys might have been in on that, but I'm not sure, but I know APA was. Well, anyway, the guys were messing up, and they ended up never airing the skit. So the next night in Pittsburgh, they had us do 2 separate skits. They were both pre-taped, and the first, what was it like? It was cool. They were very professional. Shane McMahon had his hand in things in terms of running the actual. What's the word I'm looking for? The 2 separate shots, if you will.
Shots.
And they were still the bad guys. I mean, you could tell they were turning. They were becoming more and more popular, and it was funny because we'd been joking around back there. Ron Simmons, Farouk, JBL, Bradshaw. I was there. Beast, my trainer, who unfortunately passed away. Another local guy, Bison, was there, as was Bill Comer, who was known then as Major Agony. And a couple of us were talking.
Wow, what a group of brutes. The Beast, The Who, and Major Agony. I mean, you had them all in Powerhouse.
Yeah. Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, right, of course.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we were talking, and Farouk, again, Ron Simmons and JBL, Bradshaw, myself, Shane was there. And we were all joking around about how, well, I'll lead up to that. So we did the first scene where it was kind of outside of the Civic Arena, the Mellon Arena, and they came out after us. One of the Hebner brothers told them, like, hey, those guys you had trouble with in Detroit last night, they're here. You want us to take care of them? They're like, no, we've got this. So they come out, they put it to us a little bit. We go running in the building. They joke around about how they've got the rest of the night to do whatever. So at that point, they came in the building. They went to a commercial break, came right back out the commercial break, right into our next skit. They found us. They beat up on us a little bit, and the segment ends with Bradshaw hitting me with a steel chair, and I went rolling into a hockey net. And he's like, he shoots, he scores.
Okay.
And I forget the date on. I want to say it was November '99. If you go look it up on WWE Network, it might have been November 16th, 17th, 18th, somewhere in there. But what we had joked about doing was having Simmons actually play the goalkeeper. And I don't even know if they was brought up to them, but they were talking about he would play the goalkeeper. Bradshaw would go to throw me into one corner. Simmons would dive and step that way. Bradshaw would hold on to me and throw me in the other corner. So, and then he shoots, he scores. But
Funny.
Shane said, he goes, you know what? He goes, that might get too much of a positive reaction from the crowd. And we, right now we don't want that just yet. So,
okay.
But so to answer Mike's question, it was cool. They were very, very professional. I mean, every time I've been backstage, it's everybody's always very professional.
Cool.
For the most part.
Hey, what about the one-on-one fights? As we're right now, we have to do this show. We'd love to be in person so you could body press us and slam us to the ground, but we have to do this over the computer. We can't go near anyone. And I know you said you haven't been in the ring, but I know there's always the itch to return. Is this something that would put that ever on hold for the rest of your life? Is that, how do you get back out there in a physical sport where you're breathing in that guy, you're getting sweat in your mouth, you're getting blood in your mouth, you're all over these people, mixed tags, all these things. How does wrestling return? How do you get past it as a performer?
Well, yesterday, WWE was considered essential employment by the state of Florida. I'm guessing as a political move, with Vince being friends with President Trump. It's good to know.
I think it was.
But so I mean, they're allowed to still work. But yeah, I mean, it as far as the smaller promotions at the independent level, it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them a lot. So
sure. And if you're going to spend your money, do you come back to a local level? And if you're concerned, do you think that maybe going to a WWF show where they're going to take your temperature when you're at Mellon Arena or wherever, and you go in and everything is cleaned down, and opposed to the Monessen Civic Center or a gym or something like that? I don't know. I think you're going to run into people who are more neurotic than ever, and this has turned them 100 times worse.
Yeah, you're going to have some people who they're still not going to buy into what's going on. Like, this isn't going to happen to me. I'd still go wrestle. But I mean, I'm hoping, and I don't follow the indie circuit as close as I used to, just because with me being out of the business now. I have been talking with the promoter about being involved in one aspect. Nothing's been announced yet. I'm not going to wrestle, but just everybody's fully aware of what's going on. Just some people aren't buying into it. It's not going to happen to me. And it just you would like to think everybody be smart about it. But.
You hope.
Bill, and Bill, of course, you do a weekly wrestling column for the Herald Standard out of Uniontown. Very good column. I would advise everybody out there to check it out, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Some really good information in there, and kind of give everybody a peek behind the scenes and kind of keep up to date on what's going on. Wrestling for me in my life has come in phases. There was the 80s where I was fully in. And then, as soon as Hulk Hogan started to drift away, I was a Hulkamaniac. That kind of drifted me away from wrestling.
Hulkamaniac.
Exactly. And then Brian and I, in college at Point Park, 98, 97, somewhere in there, we get fully back in when The Rock and Stone Cold and the Attitude Era started. We were full game. In fact, we were probably at that Raw that you and Eric and all those guys were at. So that was a great story you had in your column about that not too long ago. But where do you see wrestling currently, and kind of where it's going? Because my two sons are 9 and 6, and they're back into it, man. They watch it. They have the figures. They have the WWE 2K20 game they play on Xbox, and I watch with them. And it's missing that Attitude Era type of substance to it, in my opinion, at least. It's still entertaining. I'm still into it, but where do you kind of see wrestling right now, and kind of where it's headed?
When Vince bought out WCW, and when ECW went bankrupt and Vince bought all their rights and whatnot, there was no competition. So all of a sudden, it literally became what Vince wants, Vince is going to get, and he's deserved that. Okay, but at the same time, it took away a very key attribute of the Attitude Era, which was the wrestlers were extensions of themselves. They were allowed to be themselves. Whereas after, Vince was the only company, he was the only show in town, it became more scripted in terms of all the backstage promos. And the wrestlers aren't given the opportunity now to become their own person. They are told what to say, how to say it. And it's sort of like sometimes you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
And it just, I think if the guys were given more chances to be themselves, it would go back to a point. Now, back then as well, they weren't getting sponsors like they are now. The Attitude Era is not coming back. They're making way too much money off of the actual, advertising revenue they have coming in.
Powerhouse. I don't know what this means, but my mom just commented powerhouse with a heart.
Well, I appreciate that. Powerhouse is giving you a heart right back. So.
That's it. One thing would have been phenomenal on Easter. We were talking before you got on that my parents only come out on their deck, which is like 15 feet above the ground. Boy, it would have been tremendous on Easter if you would have come out on the deck and threw my dad off of it like a steel cage. That would have been an Easter we never would have forgotten.
Well, yeah, it's probably one I wouldn't have forgotten either. I'd probably be in a little bit of trouble for that. We wouldn't be doing this interview right now. Obviously, I'd still be sitting in a cell somewhere. So,
but it would have been worth it. My kids would have remembered it forever. Remember the Easter when Powerhouse Hughes threw Poppy off the deck. Just saying. I know there's a hard connection there.
Poppy was okay, and everybody was happy. I guess it'd been all right. So.
He would have sold it. He would have sold it for you. Don't worry.
I'm sure.
Hey, the article that Ed's mentioning is available, and is it weekly, Bill? At heraldstandard.com.
Yes, my pro wrestling column, depending on which time of the year it is, most of the year it runs on Sundays. Okay. And I always share it on my Facebook page and other social media outlets. I've been doing a pro wrestling column, since I was a kid. I started in '99, February '99 with the original Valley Independent. Brian Herman, the sports editor, asked me because of how popular wrestling was. And this was right around the time of WrestleMania 15. So here's a plug to Mark Cabali, who's coming on later this week. I saw your thing on with Bubba and Josh and, and whomever else. But Cabali, we went to WrestleMania 15 together. You have to ask him about it and make sure you get at least one brother out of him. He'll tell you the story. We put into the hotel. 6 of us went out. We took 2 vehicles, 3 in each vehicle. We check in. The rooms were in my name. 5 of us, we go into the rooms, and then the 2 came down to my room, and there was we get 3 rooms, 2 per room. So of the other 4, 3 of them came to the room. We didn't know where Cabali was. We were like, "Where's he at?" And back then his nickname for me was Tav. I'll let him tell you that story off the air. We're trying to figure out where he is. We look out the window of the hotel. We're like 9 floors up. Here comes Cabali walking down. He didn't even check into the hotel. He went right to the beer distributor to get some. We'll just say some pop or some water.
Some water.
Here he is, carrying it over his shoulder, walking down, and he has a very distinct walk to him. So even that high, we knew it was him.
Right.
And then within 5 minutes, here, we told him where we were. Here he comes walking in, and has the drinks, if you will, puts them right in the tub. So
funny. Well, we're going to bring this up to him and embarrass him and humiliate him on what is he on tomorrow night, Ed? Right?
Oh, yeah. And tell him I called him
tomorrow.
Hey, brother.
Bill, I thought some good guests this week would be we would just have a Valley Independent reunion. You and Mark and Josh. Bring all the Mon Valley guys back on the show. But
right, yeah, definitely.
The good news is you guys are all up to great things, and Josh covering the Pens and Mark, of course, covering the Steelers, and that leads me to my next question with you. I know you cover a lot of the local high school sports scene, as do I. You're writing about it in the Herald Standard and some other local publications. I know that pick up your stories. What's your thoughts right now? I mean, the spring season, the PIAA shut everything down. These seniors that had an opportunity to play softball, baseball, track and field, among other sports this spring will never get a chance to play their senior seasons. It's a very depressing thing right now. You got to really feel bad for these kids.
You do, because most kids aren't going to go from the high school level to college. This is it for them. And if they're seniors, this was going to be it, and it was kind of taken away from them. So I do feel bad for them. But how are these school districts going to handle graduation? Kids missing their prom. There's a lot of things that they're going to miss out on. Even at my level, at the elementary level, we have like move up ceremonies to the middle school, and they do it from the middle school to the high school. These kids aren't getting this now. And working from home, and I'm talking with families every day. And some of them are like, well, when are we going to get a tour of the middle school? How's this going to work? How's that going to work? So it's affecting kids from the youngest age all the way up. But I genuinely feel bad for the athletes and the seniors in general as a class, regardless of what, whether they're an athlete or not. But it's so unfortunate. And these are unprecedented times. And no matter what anybody says, it's something else. And it's sports across the board. Like tomorrow, I have a piece that's going to be in the Herald Standard. I do a bi-weekly college sports column, and I interviewed 4 people within the last couple of days. Lou Zadecki, who's the director of athletics at Penn State Fayette, spoke with Lou. I spoke with Joe Volpe, who's from the Uniontown area, Masontown to be specific. He is a collegiate official umpire, and he's been umpiring for like 30 years. And then 2 student athletes, Dana Vatakis from Monessen, who's a pitcher on the Robert Moore softball team, and Bailey Parshall from Bell Vernon, who is a pitcher with the Penn State softball team. And it's just a piece, just talking to them, like how it's affected them, what they're doing moving forward, what are they doing now? And it just, every single person, I talked to all 4, and they all looked at things differently, and they're all accepting of it, just not understanding it. And I think that speaks volumes for how we're all looking at it.
Yeah, I just saw earlier a teacher that I had at Montour that's like most beloved, Tina Frank, who's a science teacher. She's been there for 30 years. This was her final year, and she was nominated Teacher of the Year a few years ago. So she's like heart and soul, and it was a hard blow for her to say goodbye. This is the way she was going to say goodbye as well, and it just sucks, man. I feel like people are losing just prime time moments of their life. And I think it's for the right cause. I'm not saying it's not, but man, it's a hard one to swallow. It's a tough one for sure.
It is. And I mean, I know for a fact, one of the teachers, because I'm at 2 different schools in the Trinity District, one of the teachers, she's retiring. And she didn't get a chance to say goodbye to the kids, nor did they get to say goodbye to her. Mm-hmm. So I know exactly what you're saying. I mean, you just think about the whole thing, and it just.
And think of end of the year senior pranks. No one can bring a cow into the school now. No one can steal the desk. Sure. No one can duct tape Ed Troop to the door.
Yeah, no comment on that one.
Your buddy Richard said, "Boo Penn State." So I'm guessing you're a Penn State fan, Powerhouse.
Rico. Rico is a good buddy of mine. He's good people. He played football at Pitt. He's in the TV production industry. So he has his finger on the pulse of all this as well. Good guy though. I'll give it. He gets on me about Penn State. That's okay. It's all good. But it just
Bill's a huge. That's an understatement, man. You are a huge Penn State fan. If you follow Bill on Facebook, you'll see you go to pretty much every game, home and away, for Penn State. Even made it out to some basketball this past year. So I want you to talk about Penn State and basically college athletics right now with recruiting, kind of where that's going. But before I forget, I also want you to talk about Coach K and Duke, because I know you have a special relationship there with Duke and Coach K, and you're following with it, which I think is a great story and maybe something to talk about here if you want to. But those are the 2 questions I want to throw out to you.
Sure. The Penn State. Now, when I say this, with me doing the college sports column, and when I cover an event as part of the media, I'm neutral. The fan, stays at the door. I mean, I go and I report what I see. Because you have, if you're being biased or one-sided, you're going to lose the respect of everybody involved. Right. And I've worked hard to try to build a name. Sports writing's never been my focus, but I mean, I have tried to work my way up, and I've been able to cover some cool games. I did do the Army-Navy game back in December, and I've been to a lot of sporting events. Final Four, ACC basketball tournament. The last 5 Penn State bowl games, including the Rose Bowl, Fiesta, and Cotton. So I am a big Penn State fan. I'm genuinely concerned that there's not going to be sports through the fall. I really don't know how this is going to work. I've talked with several people who I know professionally, and out of respect to the fact that we were just talking as friends, I'm not going to give names because I don't want to break scoops here. But in the last handful of days, I've talked to an associate athletic director at a Power 5 school. I've talked to a football coach at a Power 5 school. Talked to a Power 5 official, and the best thing they could say, any of them, and I'm paraphrasing, is that they're being optimistic, but they're just not sure how it's going to work. So I mean, it's a big lull. I mean, last month I was out at Penn State Fayette for the USCAA basketball championships, Division I and II, men's and women's, and it's like, wow, that's the last sporting event I've been to. Like I had other things planned, as have a lot of other people, and I just remember. Yeah. And the USCAA is made up of smaller schools, like all the Penn State branch campuses are a member under its umbrella. And I remember I was joking around with a kid, my buddy Hudson, and I think he's preschool age, and he was just amazed at watching these kids, these basketball players warming up, dunking basketball. So here I am joking with him about, I asked him if he'd ever dunked. And he's just looking at me kind of funny, as most people do. But he, as a young kid, he just shook his head. No, I was like, well, buddy, you want to know how to do it? I was like, I'll teach you. So he's like looking at me kind of like I piqued his interest. I was like, what you do is you go and you get an Oreo cookie. You're like, you like Oreos? And he shook his head, yeah. So I was like, you get your cookie, you dunk it in some milk, dunk it in there really good, get it nice and soft, and you put it in your mouth. And so that was, it was it was funny at the time. And, Hudson, it was cool, but but it's like, wow, that's, the sports writer and me, the sports fan, that's the last time I'm going to be at an event, for a while anyway. You mentioned Duke, and I see where Rico just put on there the HTP for the Hell to Pit, which Rico would do that. But the Duke story that you were talking about, a good friend of mine from Uniontown area, Annie Malkowiak, is very good personal friends with Coach K. And I have met Coach K. I've met Coach K's family. I met him last year when Duke was at Pitt. Not this season that just took place, but a year ago with Zion Williamson.
Yeah, with Zion.
And the story that Coach K goes, I've been a Duke fan since I was a little kid, mid '80s, like to the point where I remember they played DePaul. I was like little. They played DePaul in the East Regional Finals. Duke was the Blue Devils, or I'm sorry, it might have been the Sweet 16, but anyway, they played DePaul. Duke are the Blue Devils, and DePaul at the time were the Blue Demons. And I was like, well, okay, they both have blue in their name, which blue has always been my favorite color. I was like, whoever wins, that's my team. Well, thank goodness Duke won, because DePaul hasn't done a whole lot these last.
Yeah, you chose wisely.
Yeah, and that's how I became a Duke fan. It was like a closet thing, because as a kid, I didn't want to tell because we went to church every week. I didn't want to tell my parents that I was a fan of a blue devil or a blue demon. So I kept it quiet. But fast forward, and then when just going to Duke games, and then, like I said, I've met Mr. Krzyzewski, I've met the daughters, the coaches. I know a lot of people in the basketball family. Credit to Annie, my friend Annie, because she's the one that knew them. And I'm not saying I'm friends with them. I talk to them all the time, but if we see each other, we do speak. But Coach K, back in 2015, my niece Abby, who I spoke to on here earlier, she was diagnosed with cancer, and knowing people in the Duke basketball family, I reached out to Coach K's executive assistant, Jerry, and I had mentioned to her how we knew each other and what was going on, and see if Coach K couldn't, send her something. And this was right after Duke had won the 2015 national title. So Coach K, through Jerry, emailed me back instantly, like within 15 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it was. But first it was Jerry saying, Bill, I'm sorry to hear this about your niece. It's taken care of. We'll do this. And then Coach K through Jerry did get a hold of me. I ended up sending her a T-shirt, a championship T-shirt, and sent her 2 autographed pictures. One saying to Ab, it was a picture of the Duke basketball team with the national championship trophy and everything. And it said to Abby, thanks for being a part of our team, Coach K.
Wow.
And then the other one was just a picture of Coach K, or a couple pictures of him, like a collage almost.
Yeah.
And it said, to Abby, I'm pulling for you, Mike Krzyzewski.
Wow.
So he sent, and she was she at the time, she just turned 8 when she was diagnosed.
But it means a lot to the family as well, right? I mean, it's
and when it's her as an 8-year-old, and I think even now as a 13-year-old, she doesn't understand that was Coach K. Whereas the adults, like my sister, grew up in we were a basketball family, to my parents, to my sister, and I say this jokingly, my brother-in-law's not a basketball guy, but I know he even appreciated that.
Yeah.
But
it's funny that when you talk about that, and it shows what kind of individual he is, or what a great staff that he has around him to make sure those things happen. When you see like Aaron Judge playing catch with a kid in center field, that's the biggest deal of that kid's life, and it means nothing to Judge. And it was beautiful that Coach K wrote that autograph for your family member, and he didn't have to do it. It took him 5 seconds, but it touches families forever. And that's the power of sports that I think is missed right now, because it's the human connection when people need it the most.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I mean, realistically, he could have just like had a stack of those and just kept writing Coach K, or Mike Krzyzewski. But no, I mean, he individualized both to her. And I think that's what meant the most. I see that my sister just commented on here, saying how that was absolutely amazing. It's just, you hear things like that, a person in a position like that who, people are put on pedestals and people are always trying to look to tear somebody down. But, just a situation like that. And you're right about with the way things are right now, little things like that go a long way, whether it's Aaron Judge or whomever.
And Bill, thank you for sharing that story. I didn't mean to put you on the spot with it, but I just think your niece's story has been, and I followed it on Facebook, through your sister and her husband and yourself, and it's just very inspirational. And she's doing great, right?
She is. Thank you. Yeah, we're very blessed. She doing great. she's healthy. She goes. I think it's like every 9 months now. She goes for a checkup, maybe 6 or 9 months. But yeah, knock on wood. Knock on wood. She's blessed. And
okay. Yeah. And that the Coach K story that goes along with that, I just thought was great to share, man. Because I mean, like Brian said, it made me a fan. I've never really been a big Duke fan. I've kind of been more North Carolina. I mean, I'm a Pitt fan, but more North Carolina. But after seeing that with Coach K, I became a big Coach K fan, and I mean that. I'm not making that up just for the benefit of the story.
All right, everybody, check out the website heraldstandard.com. That's where you can find the weekly Bill Powerhouse Hughes column. Powerhouse, thank you very much. Thanks for the insight on local wrestling, on high school involvement, and sharing that story about your family. And I guess I'll see you at Easter next year when you're with my mom.
I'd be looking to throw your dad over the balcony there. I've got you. So.
All right, Powerhouse, thank you. And hopefully all the checks are in the mail from Powerhouse, or all the merchandise that you created, the Powerhouse logo. You created the whole thing.
Yeah, there were a lot of them. Yeah, they did pretty well. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the time, guys. Hey, anytime you need somebody come on, I'm more than happy to come on. So thank you.
There he is. Hey, thank you. Bill Powerhouse Hughes, everybody. Class act, and thank you for the time. And not a guy to mess with, man. That's 6'6", 270 the right way.
Bill's up to a lot, right? I mean, he covers a lot of different things, and has had throughout the last 20 years has done a lot, especially on the local wrestling scene, and of course following the professional stuff. And like I said, his weekly column in Herald Standard, very, very good. I urge everybody to check that out if you can, because it's a lot of good stuff.
Rico, his buddy, who was busting his balls on Hail to Pitt and everything, he said no WWE talk. Rico, you tuned in too late, man.
We started with that.
Yeah, it'll be this will be shared throughout the internet on Facebook tonight, and then it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow, so we can go from there. Hey, Ed, a programming note for everybody who's checking us out. On Saturday, I guess let's do the rundown quickly. Tomorrow is April 15th. Normally, Major League Baseball celebrates Jackie Robinson Day. That's been turned to a virtual event. Sean Gibson from the Josh Gibson Foundation, who happens to be Josh Gibson's great-grandson, he'll be with us tomorrow. We are going to be talking to him about all things Negro League Baseball and what they're up to. You know, Ed, I love Negro League Baseball, so I'm ready to geek out and talk to him. Also tomorrow, Clyde Calicott, who's putting together the Pittsburgh Service Staff Aid, which is a 12-hour virtual concert on Saturday to raise money for hospitality workers affected by the coronavirus shutdown. And then your boy, the Mon Valley, will be represented later in the show by Mark Caboli from The Athletic.
Yeah, well, Mark on, who is the beat writer for the Steelers and also covers the NFL for The Athletic. So be a big show tomorrow, man. That's a full packed house. You and I will barely have to talk during the hour.
I love it. I just like to sit here. Like it does turn into story time, but man, we have compelling people. Andrew Stockey last night had so many great thoughts about covering news in Pittsburgh and his time here, and Powerhouse Hughes, who, by the way, would beat the crap out of Andrew Stockey, which I would watch. I'd pay for that if that match could happen. But just powerful people in the area, and it's great to check in with them. Later in the week, Star 100.7's Bubba will be here on Friday, and then Saturday night, everybody's got this guy in their basement somewhere. Dave DiCello, the photographer, will be joining us on Saturday.
That is big, man. He's the guy that takes those powerhouse there. I'm going to give that. That's the photos are tremendous. But back to that story, I do not remember giving him that nickname. I mean, that's something that's just like, wow, it's a wild moment, man.
Look, man, you're kind of like the local Coach K, right? I mean, you've touched so many people on so many levels. You don't even know who you've touched, what you've done. You've done it all.
They're like, man, you gave Powerhouse Hughes his nickname when you were in middle school. I did not know that. But he is a powerhouse. He was back then, and he still is today. But that's great for Saturday, man. I mean, some of those shots that show up on Facebook with the fog or the sun setting in Pittsburgh, and he's got the triangle or the stadiums, and just it's all doctored up, man.
Well, in the lightning, too, those lightning pictures over the city. Is this guy nuts? Like, is he not worried about getting blown up on Mount Washington with all his photography equipment? And I mean, he's just driven to and does it just get bored for him anymore? Where he's like, another picture of Mr. Rogers. But I've seen 600, and they're all different, and they all touch me in a different way. And so I'm excited to talk to him on where he gets his inspiration from. I think Pittsburgh's an easy city to be inspired by.
Yeah, that's that'll be great coming up on Saturday.
Hey, quickly, Jessica Powerhouse's sister just said that Billy always gave Ed the credit for that name. He's told so many people that story.
That's great. And maybe he just thought, I'm guessing he just thought that I knew that because, I mean, I've ran into Bill covering high school football and basketball events over the past 20 years, probably, 50 times. And, we always talk just about life and how our families are doing and, maybe some local sports type stuff, but he's never mentioned that until tonight. So, I'm guessing he just assumed that I knew that, but I did not. I did not know that till tonight. So that's awesome. That's really cool.
You did it, man. You did it. Well, this has been day 30 for us, as you can see in the corner of our screen. Day 30 of us for the quarantine. Ed, thanks to you for your time. It was great to see Brendan, your son. He's looking great. A little Ed Troop Jr. I call him.
He was just yelling at his brother Ryan. I don't know if you just heard that, but it was an awful scream in the background of Ryan. So I'm sure I'm up to some entertainment after I turn this off.
Well, the kids don't get it yet, but parents are stressed, and whenever I hear one kid scream in my house at the other, I know Mama Bear is not too far behind, ready to whoop that ass.
That's it, man. They're the ones that have to step in and take care of business.
Yes, you're right. Well, hey, thanks to Bill Powerhouse Hughes. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking more about the concert for the worker relief in Pittsburgh. We're going to talk to Sean Gibson and, of course, Mark Cabaldi. So thank you, Ed. It was great to see you. And let's bring up our good friend, Big Deborah, as we say good night. As we started quarantine 30 days ago, we were Little Debbie, and now 30 days in, we are, of course, Big Deborah. I think I've gained 100 pounds, and I'm ready to break into these two Easter goodies. This all-you-can-eat peanut butter melt away, and then, of course, hey, don't even get me started on these.
Dude, we didn't even talk about that much at the top of the broadcast, but, I mean, Sarah's chocolate pretzels.
Oh,
the best. And is there any other better combination in the world of candy than chocolate and peanut butter?
Now, it's funny. My cousin, the chef, Bob Sendall, will tell you that peanut butter and chocolate shouldn't go together because one is savory and one is sweet, that it's a contrast that he doesn't like. We can have him on to talk about it, but he really bashed Reese's peanut butter cups and stuff when last time I saw him. And I don't know. I felt like I was ready to disown him.
I didn't like it at first, but man, I sure like it now.
How can you not? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
I wasn't a fan back in the day of peanut butter and chocolate, that combination, but I sure am now.
Oh, I love it.
Fantastic.
All right, Ed. You look great. Make sure your head is shaved tomorrow. We have a big show. And join us back here on Facebook Live right here at 7 o'clock.
Hey, stay healthy, everyone.
See ya, Ed. Thank you and good night. So for Ed Troop and Bill Powerhouse Hughes, good night, everybody from Pittsburgh.